Russian losses reportedly, significantly increased, as the Ukrainian counteroffensive found success in the Zaporizhzhia region, according to the Institute for the Study of War (ISW). A report published by ISW on Tuesday highlights the claims of Ukrainian military spokesperson Oleksandr Shtupun, who said that the Russian military had lost 313 troops on Monday in western Zaporizhzhia, a significant increase from the approximately 200 troops lost on each of the previous 2 days. Newsweek has not independently verified losses on either side of the conflict. ISW suggested that the losses may be due to Russia's use of Storm Z units, which consist of former prisoners. The US-based think tank, which has previously argued that the units are a liability for Moscow, due to poor morale and discipline, said that the prisoners-turned-soldiers would provide only marginal combat power in Zaporizhzhia. Russian losses have reportedly significantly increased in western Zaporizhzhia Oblast in recent days, and the Russian military likely struggles with a lack of available combat-effective units that the Russian command is willing to laterally redeploy to this sector of the front, the ISW report states. Storm Z detachments are often combat ineffective and will likely provide the Russian defense in western Zaporizhzhia Oblast with marginal combat power, it continues. An updated war map included in the ISW report shows the claimed Ukrainian advances on Russian-occupied territory in Zaporizhzhia. ISW said that Ukraine conducted successful offensives in western Zaporizhzhia on Monday and Tuesday. Geolocated footage published on Monday purportedly shows Ukrainian advances west of the settlement of Verbo, while an attempted Russian advance in western Zaporizhzhia was thwarted by Ukraine on Tuesday. In addition to gaining ground in Zaporizhzhia, ISW also reported on Tuesday that Ukraine successfully advanced along the Kupiansk-Svatov-Kreminna line. Newsweek reached out for comment to the Russian Ministry of Defense via email on Tuesday night. The General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine said in a Facebook post on Tuesday that the military successfully repelled an enemy attack in the vicinity of Robotyne, while adding that Russian forces had fired artillery and mortars at over 25 settlements in the region. The Russian military was also accused of violating international humanitarian law by forcibly living with civilians in their homes, by the General Staff, with large numbers of occupying troops in the Zaporizhzhia settlement of Tokmak allegedly being housed with elderly civilians in their homes, and looting the apartments and houses of Ukrainian citizens. ISW maps published on Monday showed Ukraine's claimed advances in Zaporizhzhia and near the Donetsk region settlement of Bakhmut, where former Ukrainian Deputy Defense Minister Hanna Maliar claimed that 5.1 square kilometers of territory had been retaken over the past week. The think tank said that Ukraine continued its counteroffensive near Bakhmut on Tuesday, but did not make any confirmed advances, despite inflicting significant manpower and equipment losses on Russian forces. Ukraine counteroffensive map is Kyiv advances in Bakhmut, Zaporizhzhia. Ukrainian forces are making gains, an updated map shows, nearly 4 months into Kyiv's grinding counteroffensive. Operations by Ukraine to reclaim occupied territory may have resulted in the particularly severe degradation of critical elements of Russian defense in the western Zaporizhzhia region, according to U.S. think tank the Institute for the Study of War (ISW), which published the updated map on Monday. Meanwhile, in Bakhmut, in the eastern Donetsk region, recent Ukrainian advances may correspond with the similar degradation of defending Russian units in the area, the ISW said. Kyiv's long-anticipated counteroffensive began in early June. Newsweek has reached out to the Russian Defense Ministry via email for comment. On Sunday, Ukraine announced that it had reclaimed the village of Klashivka near the industrial city of Bakhmut, which has seen some of the most intense fighting of the war. Days earlier, Kyiv said it had recaptured the nearby village of Andriivka. The ISW noted that Ukrainian Ground Forces Commander Colonel General Oleksandr Shtupun said Monday that Klashivka and Andriivka were important elements of a Russian defensive line that Ukrainian forces had breached, while another Ukrainian official said that the liberation of Klashivka will allow Ukrainian forces to control Russian ground lines of communication (GLOCs) supplying Russian troops grouping in the Bakhmut area. This is likely referring to Ukrainian forces' ability to establish fire control over the TO-513 Bakhmut-Horlivka highway, the ISW said. According to former Ukrainian Deputy Defense Minister Hanna Maliar, Kyiv's forces have liberated 5.1 square kilometers of territory in the Bakhmut direction in the past week. The ISW said Ukrainian forces also conducted offensive operations in at least 2 sectors of the front and advanced in western Zaporizhzhia on Monday. The think tank said geolocated footage published Monday indicates that Ukrainian forces advanced west of the city of Zaporizhzhia, while the Ukrainian General Staff and Maliar reported that Kyiv pressed ahead with its counteroffensive operations in the Melitopol, western Zaporizhzhia direction, pushing Russian forces out of unspecified positions. According to Maliar, over the past week, Kyiv's forces have liberated 5.2 square kilometers in the area, and have achieved unspecified successes east and south of the village of Robotyne, which Ukraine said it had recaptured in late August. Cluster munitions bombard Russian positions in chilling night vision video. New footage circulating online appears to show a Ukrainian cluster munitions strike on Russian infantry soldiers, as Ukraine's grinding counteroffensive presses through its 4th month. In a nighttime clip shared to social media and a Telegram channel documenting the conflict, what looks to be a drone camera films a strike that quickly disperses smaller bombs, before soldiers caught in the midst of the strike rush to move away from the area. Newsweek could not independently verify when, nor where, this clip was filmed. The Russian Defense Ministry has been contacted for comment via email. Cluster munitions have been used on both sides of the conflict. They are both controversial and effective weapons against opposing infantry forces. The U.S. agreed to supply Ukraine with dual-purpose improved conventional munitions DPICM in July, and footage quickly emerged reportedly showing the first Ukrainian use of cluster bombs as Ukraine forged ahead with its counteroffensive against Russian defenses in southern and eastern Ukraine. Ukraine is deploying cluster munitions, quite effectively, White House National Security spokesperson John Kirby said in mid-July. They are actually having an impact on Russia's defensive formations and Russia's defensive maneuvering, he added. Cluster munitions are very useful for clearing out large numbers of infantry, Siddharth Kaushal, a research fellow at the London-based Royal United Services Institute defense think tank told Newsweek ahead of the decision. Cluster munitions work by releasing multiple smaller bombs, or sub-munitions, over a wide area. However, more than 120 countries across the world have banned cluster bombs, as they can place civilians in harm's way and detonate long after they are first fired.